Hello there lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and this is just a quick video that's a follow-up to the unboxing that I did of my retro game box, which very kindly sent me a box full of lovely retro gaming goodies. If you want to find out more about them, there'll be a link in the description, but this video is focused on reviewing the games that I did receive, which includes Wario Blast for the Game Boy, Lemmings for the Master System, Taz-Mania for the Master System, and Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo or SNES if you're of my disposition. Before we get onto that though, just a huge thanks to Funstock for providing a Retron 5 for us so that we could give you this pristine quality footage from the original cartridges. It really is a glorious machine and I'm so glad that we've got one because it's made this so fantastic. So again, thank you Funstock, you've made this all possible. Anyway, enough introduction, let's get on to the matter at hand, shall we? Taz-Mania is an interesting little game for the Master System. It's quite nice and colourful to look at, and it fits the style of its subject material rather well. The animations are a bit basic, but it's nothing that really impedes gameplay. Speaking of gameplay, this was clearly designed as a children's game, so it's astonishing to see just how difficult the game is compared to modern titles for young'uns. It's not overly taxing, but it does offer a significant challenge to those that play it. I mean, the jumping mechanic is a bit clunky, but the dash attack is very cleverly implemented and it allows for some really quite interesting level designs. It's not going to set the world on fire and it's not perhaps as refined as other platforming games at the time like Mario, but Taz-Mania is a perfectly enjoyable little 8-bit adventure, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Now, this is a game that I actually had when I was a child, and despite memories of dodgy controls and difficult gameplay, coming back to it as an adult actually seems to have removed a lot of those issues. The game was originally developed for computers, which you can probably tell from looking at it, you know, clearly it had a mouse input in mind. But due to the Master System's control limitations, of course, they had to use a D-pad in its place. There's no hiding from the fact that a mouse would be a much easier input method. But actually the D-pad holds up surprisingly well, a lot better than that I remember, to be honest. The animations are wonderfully fluid, and despite only being a few pixels high, the Lemmings have a wealth of personality to them. There are even a few instances of sampled voice clips, which for an 8-bit game is absolutely astonishing. I mean, that must have taken up half the cartridge. The game handles difficulty and gameplay beautifully, and it really doesn't feel out of place compared to modern games, which is frankly amazing, so I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. I may be slightly biased due to nostalgia, but it's my review, I'll give it whatever score I want. Now, this is an interesting one. It's a very simple game, and if you've ever experienced traditional solo play from a Bomberman title, you'll find absolutely nothing of surprise here. The game's presented as a Wario game which features Bomberman, but in reality it's a Bomberman that happens to have Wario slapped in there. Probably to shift more units. Wario was probably a bigger name at the time than dear old Bomberman. As far as the gameplay is concerned, it's pretty much a typical Bomberman affair as I alluded to earlier, only with very little in the way of screen to view as you wander around because of the limitations of the Game Boy's screen, meaning that you can be completely oblivious to where your opponent is a lot of the time. There's nothing inherently wrong with the game, but it does feel a little bit limited, and the inclusion of Wario does seem a little bit forced to say the least. Overall an enjoyable, if limited, experience, so I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10, and I think that's a generous 7 out of 10. Not a bad game, but it's not without its foibles. Oh, Donkey Kong Country is an absolute masterpiece of a game. It features unbelievable graphics for the SNES and hugely enjoyable gameplay, sort of woven together almost seamlessly. It's amazing. Every single level feels fresh and individual, and you never really feel like you're playing variations of the same level over and over again, which is something that many platformers strive for but often fall short of, because it really is a difficult task trying to get that many different levels. Not only this, but this game also features some of the best music that you'll ever hear in a video game, bested only really for the time by its successor Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest. I've actually already reviewed the game for the Wii U Virtual Console over on Nintendo Life, so click the link in the description if you want a more in-depth look at its workings. So there you have it, 4 very enjoyable games from yesteryear. If you want to find out more about my retro game box, there'll be a link in the description. Click that and you'll be able to see prices, what they offer, they do different subscription plans. Have a look, it's brilliant. Now it's time to announce the winners of our competition. The 2 winners of a fabulous golden box of retro gaming goodies from My Retro Game Box are Dave Travers and Nikki Maiden. Well done! I'll put some cheering in there post-recording. So well done to you two. We'll be getting in touch very shortly to talk to you about details and things like that, so we can make sure that you get it on time and promptly. Commiserations to everyone else who entered, but thank you so much for entering. It's been an absolutely fantastic competition and I've loved doing it. I really, really have. So thank you all. And thank you to everyone for watching. If you like this video, why don't you find that subscribe button and bludgeon it with a metaphorical instrument. And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.